Hi there, it's me, Helene with Cabin Fever Crochet. Today I bring to you this lovely, easy, fun, easy, really, wrap slash scarf. You can use just about any weight yarn. I recommend up to a medium size, number 4, like a worsted, light worsted, number 4 straight up. I did do a swatch and like a number 4 worsted acrylic, but I think it's a little bit too heavy for this particular pattern. And then what happens is the bulkier the yarn, the larger the hook. These, what I'm calling these little window panes, these large spaces become even larger, and it wasn't as attractive to my eye, but you can swatch it, try it, do whatever you want. This is a number 2 fine weight, and number 3 would be perfect. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what I did. Now this, you can make it as long as you want. You can turn it into full-on wrap, which is what I did, and it just goes about midway down my back. And my inspiration for this piece is the lovely willow tree behind me. As the leaves cross over the branches and they move around, it creates this pretty window pane effect. You can work it lengthwise or you can work it widthwise, go back and forth. That might depend on which project you choose and the type of yarn. And you can make this with or without fringe. This is a 3-row repeat, really easy to remember. So depending on, if you are doing a scarf or a wrap and you wanted fringe, then you might want to work lengthwise such as I did, so your fringe becomes on the end. And then the border is on the edge, going lengthwise. So if you don't want to do fringe and you want to have your border going across the front that drapes in front of you, then you're going to work your scarf widthwise back and forth on the shorter end. It's, perfect transitional type of piece, because if you live in a warmer climate, well, you can use a lighter weight yarn for that. You can go up into, like I said, a worsted, which would be a transition piece, or you can do a lighter weight and make it wide like I did, and because this is so light and it really pulls down and to just a little bit of nothing, then you wind up with a scarf and something that really could transition into fall. And of course a scarf you can wear in so many different ways. This is nice. You can pull the one end a little bit shorter, wrap it around your neck and have the other side coming down. You can bring this down a little longer, more like a cowl. You can cinch it up, get a little bit more, bulk around your neck. It's great if, it's still warm where you are. You need just a little something to take the chill off your shoulders. Well, there you have it. And what I used on this, you're probably wondering, is the Lion Brand Ombre Life yarn, and it is the same type of yarn as the Red Heart. It's a wrap rainbow. Now, not the regular, it's a wrap. They have 2 of these. The regular, it's a wrap, is a single ply thread yarn. You get like something like 1,100 yards with it. It is thread-like. It's very thin. And this is a number 2 fine, and you get 4 strands of thread yarn that are not wound together. Just keep that in mind, because you do have to slow down and pay attention. Make sure you catch all 4 strands with each loop, each stitch, because I'm telling you, it's really easy to miss one, and you may not find it till a row or a few rows down the line. And what I've done, if that happens, is with whatever leftover I have, I'll take a piece and I'll just creatively, pick up that missed loop and weave it in and stitch it into the other stitches around it where it's going to blend the best. I used 1 full plus less than a half ounce, 0.4 ounces of this to finish up. If you wanted to do just a real lightweight warm weather scarf, just to have a little something simple for decoration, you could easily do half this width, and you might even be able to get 2 scarves out of that. One for yourself, one for your friend, daughter, granddaughter, whichever, or 2 for you if you need a backup. But in the Red Heart It's a Wrap, you get 623 yards. So that is more than enough, way more than enough. You could get 1 full wrap and then another lightweight, thinner scarf. It doesn't have to be as long as mine. With the fringe, mine goes almost down to my knees, but I did that intentionally. I wanted a nice long wrap and something that would be very very versatile, that I could turn into a scarf or, you know, wrap around myself in a variety of ways. You know, how much you get out of it is going to depend on your size and your height. I just made a long chain. On this piece, I went from fingertip to fingertip. That's how wide I made it, and I add a few extra inches. But you know how, like in some patterns, when you do your starting chain and then your first setup row, depending on the type of stitch that it is, it can shrink that initial chain by quite a bit. But this pattern does not do that. Excuse me. It pretty close to the chain that you make is going to be the length that it's going to be. So I hope that helps you out there. That's that, and all right, so I'll see you right over here. I just want to show you real quick that I came up with this idea from the Big Book of Crochet Stitches, page 58, the joined arches stitch, and it's going to work up differently depending on the type of yarn and the hook that you use, as far as how open or a little more narrow that these spaces I call the window panes are. And rather than the beginning foundation to setup rows that this called for, I changed it up so that we would end with this pretty little self-edging here, which also gives more support to the base and the end of your work. And then also on the fringed version, I added 2 really simple stitches on either end, which I will show you. So go over the hook sizes real quick. I recommend whatever the yarn calls for, except you might have to use your own judgment a little bit on that, because sometimes it's pretty far off. So it doesn't hurt to do a little swatch and just to see if you like how that's working up. And this is where it's going to be a little bit different if you want fringe or don't want fringe. And if you do want fringe, then what we're going to do here is, you can see these are 3 double crochets in a row. This is a chain 1 and then a double crochet on the end. And I did this so there would be a space for your fringe, and also to separate this edge a little bit from the body of the work. I think it drapes nicer and add a little bit more interest. And as I said in the introduction, you can work it long ways, lengthwise, and then your border then goes along your back edge. Or if you work it widthwise, going back and forth this way, then your border will be finished along this, the shorter edge, and then the double crochets will be on either side here. So that's how you have to decide where your placement is before you get started. And this worked out to be 65 inches in length. So 5 feet 5 inches, just a little bit shorter than I am. And the width of it from top to bottom is about 18 and a half inches. And I did 8-inch long fringe, and I used the long end of a DVD case, wrapped it around that way. Here is the Premier. This is just basic number 4, 100% anti-pilling acrylic, the Premier Everyday. and for 100 grams you get 180 yards. Thought it might be nice going into fall. And again, that's going to pull down some as well, but just to show you the different types of yarn and how it works up. Okay, so this is one that my friend Nancy, Nan's Next Knots, had gifted me that I showed you in our yarn swap. And this is the incredible Juniper Moon Farm Findley Dappled DK weight. And this has a good texture to it, so you can see it has this really nice stitch definition. And I mean, wow, what a difference in the type of yarn that it just creates. To me, an exceptional piece. The one I'm going to be working in with you is my June knit crate, the Vitalana Aloft, which I absolutely love. Soft, squishy, not itchy, 48% merino wool, 20% baby alpaca, and 32 organic cotton. It's a chain net construction. This is a DK weight, so for the 100 gram hank, 274 yards. I went ahead and I worked up my chain. So because this has holes, those window panes in it, it's going to pull together a lot more. So I have chained a longer chain than I normally would. You can go up one hook size for your starting chain, especially if you're a tight crocheter, and just for the initial chain, and then for the body of the work you would go down to the regular size. I'm going to show you both versions, and the first one will be the non-fringed version. They're both really easy, and there's just a slight difference in the one with fringe. And because we're just doing a chain, you're not going to have that much left at the end. You can just take out, unknot at the end, and just take out any of those extra chains. Okay, so what we're going to do is double crochet into the 4th and the 5th chain from the hook. Okay, and work into the back bumps. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now these first 3 skip chains do count as your first double crochet. Alright, so the back bumps, for those of you who are not real familiar with it, is here's the front. You have the little V and the 2 loops that make up that shape. Those are your front loops, and if you just turn it to the side, you'll see these little raised loops on the back, little humps like camel humps, little bumps on the back, and that's the back bump or the 3rd loop. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet, the 4th and the 5th, chain from the hook. Okay, so now we have 3 double crochets, chain 2, skip the next 2 chains, single crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 2, and then place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. This is your repeat pattern. This is so easy. I would not steer you wrong. Okay. Ready? Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 2, place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3, and you will repeat this all the way across, and you end with your 3 double crochet in the sequence. So chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in that next, chain 2, skip 2, and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. Okay, so carry on with this sequence all the way across. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 2, and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3. However many repeats that you want to do across, and just make sure you end with the 3 double crochet. Alright, so oops, messed that one up. So I'm going to finish mine, and I will meet you down at the end, and I'll finish the last stitch with you and show you what we're going to do on row 2. So the first 2 rows are set up, and then we begin the first row of our 3-row repeat. Alright, see you in a minute. Okay, I'm at the end. I finished my 3rd double crochet. I have 1 chain left because I did put in an extra in case I had miscounted. And the nice thing about just making a long chain is you don't have to worry about the multiples, and if you get to the end and you feel like it's going to be a little bit too narrow, then you have that extra length to add on a few more repeats so that you don't have to take all that work out and start all over. Now onward to row 2 of our setup. Chain 3, which does count as a double crochet, and then turn your work, and when you turn, make sure that the chain 3 is not twisted in any way. I went from left to right and it kept those straight, but if I turn the other way, it twists the chain. So by keeping it straight, then you get a nice straight edge as you go up. Alright, so that is your first, counts as your first double crochet. Go ahead and double crochet in each of the next 2, and you're going to repeat this throughout your entire pattern. Now you chain 2, and you're going to skip these 2 chains, single crochet into the single crochet, and make sure you go through both of those loops. Chain 2, skip those next 2 chains, and place 1 double crochet in each of these double crochets, and you will do that portion, double crochet in the double crochets, throughout the whole row, throughout your entire work. So that's it for your repeat pattern on this row. Chain 2, jump over and single crochet into the single crochet, chain 2, and double crochet into each double crochet. That's all there is to it. Chain 2, single crochet into the single crochet. Don't accidentally go down to the base of your foundation chain, okay? Chain 2, 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets. So that's it, all the way across. Back at the end of row 2 of our setup rows, we're on the wrong side. I finished my first 2 double crochets. Now for your 3rd, you're going to work in that 3rd chain up, which is the top of our turning chain. So double crochet through those top 2 loops, just like you normally would, okay? And again, chain 3, turn. This chain will always count as your first double crochet that corresponds with the double crochet below. Alright, and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 2. So now we're back on the right side of our work, and we're beginning row 1 of our repeat row. Alright, so this is so easy. Chain 5. Now don't do these tight because these count as stitches and you're going to be working into the middle one on the next row. 3, 4, 5. You skip all this here because these 5 chains make up these 5 stitches here. So you skip the chain 2, the single crochet, that's your 3rd stitch, and the next chain 2, 4 and 5. You skip over all that and then you simply double crochet in each double crochet. That's it, all the way across. Chain 5. Again, skip over these 5 stitches and double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets, and you just repeat this sequence now all the way across. Chain 5, double crochet in each double crochet, and repeat all the way to the end, and place your last double crochet just as we did in the row below in the 1, 2, 3 third chain up, which is the top of your turning chain. So you can either count it from 3rd chain up or 1 chain over from the double crochet. Okay, well, I shall see you there, and then we'll go on to row 2 of our repeat pattern. I'm back and I've reached the end of row 1 of our repeat pattern. Now we're back on the right side, and this is the chain 5 portion. So now I have completed my first 2 double crochets in the set of 3, and as we did before, the top of the turning chain, which is the 3rd chain up, double crochet, and then chain 3 and turn. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 double crochets. Now on this row we are going to do what we did essentially on our base foundation chain. We're going to be working into the center of this chain 5 here. So chain 2, and because we're on the wrong side, you're going to have to turn that chain back a little towards you just so you can see it and make it easier. Skip the first 2 chains and single crochet into that 3rd middle chain here. So you have 2 chains to the right of it. You're going to crochet into the 3rd, and then you have 2 chains to the left. So that's why this is the middle one. And single crochet through it if you can. Try not to crochet around it. And if you have to, if it's too difficult for you to get in to the chain itself, you can crochet around it, just simply going around like that. And what I have found by working into the stitch, that it keeps the shape, it keeps from this window pane, it gives it more of an arch rather than an arc, and it keeps this from getting too stretched out. It gives a nice interesting little effect here, more kind of like a lattice effect, and it also keeps the stitch in place, so it's not going to be likely to slide back and forth along your chain because the stitch is actually going through it instead of around it. So I always count 1, 2, 3 and make sure that I am in the right spot. Okay, so now again, chain 2, skip those 2 chains and place 1 double crochet in each double crochet. That is your repeat on this row. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet into the next, into that middle chain, chain 2, skip those 2, and 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 double crochets, and you just repeat this all the way across. Chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the next, chain 2, you just jump on over and double, oops, double, double, all the way across. Okay, I'm back and I am at the end of row 2 of our 3-row repeat. I've already placed my last double crochet into the top of that turning chain. So now we're going to be doing the single crochet into the single crochet like we did down here. So chain 3, turn, and as always double crochet into the next, each of the next 2. Here we're going to chain 2, single crochet into the single crochet, chain 2, and 1 double crochet into each of these 3 double crochets. That's it. Chain 2, skip those 2 chains, single crochet into the single crochet, chain 2, skip the next 2 chains, and place 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets, and repeat this all the way across. Chain 2, single crochet into the single crochet, chain 2, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. That's it all the way across. That completes row 3 of our 3-row repeat. And the next row is going to be back to our chaining 5. So I'll get you started there one more time just to make sure you have this pattern locked down in your mind. And I have come to the end of row 3 of my 3-row repeat. So as you can see, this is already starting to take shape, and it creates its own nice self border, especially using a yarn that has, you know, good texture, good, at least good stitch definition. You can really, you know, see it forming a nice shape here. Okay, so I'm going to do one more with you. Chain 3. Now we're beginning, oops, row 1 of our repeat. Turn your work. 1 double crochet again in each of these next 2 double crochets. And here we do our chain 5. Skip this section, all those 5 stitches, okay, and then 1 double crochet in each of these 3 double crochets, chain 5, double, double, double. Okay, chain 5, jump over to the double crochets, 1 double crochet in each. Okay, so that was row 1 of our repeat here. Chain 3, turn your work, double crochet in these 2 double crochets, and now we chain 2, skip the first 2 chains and place 1 double crochet, or excuse me, 1 single crochet into that middle 3rd chain. Chain 2, double, 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 chain 2, skip 2 chains, single crochet into that 3rd middle chain, chain 2, and double, 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 and that's it all the way across for row 2 of our 3-row repeat. And then you probably know what we'll do next when you get to the end. Of course, you chain 3 and turn, and then you're going to chain up 3, double, double, chain 2, and this is where you single crochet in the single crochet, chain 2, double, 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 chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, work your double crochet. So that'll be row 2. Row 3 is your double, 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 your chain 5, double, double, double. So chain 5 is row 1, your single crochet, and that center of your chain 5 is row 2, and the single crochet in the single crochet is row 3. Just go ahead, work your project as long as you would like it. Now I'm going to show you how we do the little extended border here, and go ahead and work with this piece that I have. Now after you've finished your final row of your 3-row repeat to the length that you want, so instead of chaining 3 like we have been doing, I'm going to chain 4, which counts as a triple crochet that corresponds with the double crochet below, and then you're just going to do triple crochet in the next 2 double crochets. So yarn over twice for your triple crochet, one triple crochet in each of these triple crochets, and you chain 2 as usual, and then into the single crochet we're going to place a half double crochet, and make sure that it's not loose and that your stitches are pulled down to connect, not cinch them down real tight, but pull down so that we maintain that nice curved shape, and then the dip in the center. And then as usual you just go ahead, chain 2, and then now you triple crochet in each double crochet, chain 2, and half double in the next single crochet in the center, chain 2, and then 3 triple crochets, and that's it all the way across. Now I will see you at the end and work the last couple of stitches together. So that's it. That's all you do all the way across. Here I am to the end. I have 2 stitches left. Now I'm going to triple crochet in each of the next 2. So there's 1. And now instead of double crocheting on the top of that chain 3, we're going to triple crochet. Easy as that. And then you just fasten off and sew in your ends. And depending on your yarn, you may want to do just a real light steaming over, maybe I would hold the iron good 10 inches away, and just smooth that out with your hand, and either lay flat to dry or drape it over the back of a chair, and that way it'll relax these fibers to give it more drape so they don't want to curl or bunch up. And then now to turn the work, because I want to show you side-by-side comparison of with this just simple little extra edging compared to with just the self edge that this pattern creates. Take your yarn, go through both loops, and see, this is why it's helpful if you can to start out working in those back bumps, because now you get this nice full stitch to work into. But if you weren't able to, just fit it in as best as you can so that it's not stretching your end stitch out like that. Okay. Take your yarn, pull it through. I would take both your working yarn and your tail end, do a chain, lock that in, drop your tail, and then you would chain 4 for that first triple crochet, and then you can sew in your tails a little bit if you like, or crochet them in as you go, the first couple stitches, if it doesn't add too much like visible bulk at this end. And then just do your 2 triple crochets, 1 in each of these next 2, chain 2, half double in the single crochet, chain 2, and then triple, triple, triple. And then everything else is the same as I just showed you. And you do your triple crochet in the top of that, chain 3 at the end, and fasten off as usual. And that is it to this one. So now if you are working the fringed version with the extra edging, and really if you wanted to just stick with this one and add fringe to the end, you can, because there's enough space in each of these chain 3s at the end where you can put fringe in every space or every other one depending on how much you want. But I chose to add that extra edging so that the entire width of the pattern will be the same, with 3 double crochets in between each and then along the edging. And then by adding that little extra bit over here, it adds just this nice extra little edging and separation between the body of the work, the pattern, and then this edging where the fringe begins, and gives you a good defined space to put your fringe without tugging on these double crochets here. And then it gives you the full pattern all the way across to the edge. So now all you do for the border, the little extended edging on this version, when you turn your work, you just chain up 4 for your first triple crochet along this edge, and then you chain 1, and then you work your normal 3 triple crochets, and all the rest as usual as I just showed you. And then when you get to the end, you do the same thing in the reverse order. You do your 3 triple crochets, chain 1, and then triple crochet again here into the top of this turning chain. That's it. You're just adding an extra chain 1 and an extra triple crochet at each end. Now I'm going to show you just real quick the difference that we do on each end of our row just to create that separation to where you're going to put your fringe. I just want to remind you, keep in mind that if you are doing a wrap or a scarf, then to have the fringe be on the bottom edges, you will need to work in one long chain, and you make that chain as long as you want it to come around and drape down your body. And in the first portion of the video, in the non-fringed version, what we did was we double crocheted into the 4th and 5th chains from the hook, and on this one we're going to double crochet into the 5th chain. So you skip the first 4, and those represent, now the first 3 are your double crochet as before, and now we're adding a chain 1. Okay, so still into the back bump if you can, work your double crochet. And so see, now we have our first double crochet, which will begin the sequence of 3. We have our chain 1 and another double crochet on the end. And you go ahead and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 chains. And now that gives you your first set of 3. And just as we do, all the rest is the same. This is all the same as a pattern except for this extra chain 1 and double crochet. So we chain 2, skip 2, and single crochet into the next. Chain 2, skip 2, place 1 double crochet in each of the next 3, which is just like our pattern in the non-fringed version. And now here we've come to the end. Chain 1, skip 1, and place 1 double crochet, which is your last stitch. If you have any extras, just like before, you can take out that little knot, pull those back carefully, and replace, put your knot back in to lock that in. So I just want to do a real short little swatch because all the rest is the same. So now at the end you will chain up 4 on each end. This is what you're going to be doing. So again, the first 3 chains is your double crochet, and then your chain 1, turn the work, skip this chain, and then now you're back into pattern. Do your 3 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet in the single crochet, chain 2, and then your 3 double crochets. And then now coming to the end of round 2 of the setup rows, here you chain 1, skip the first chain, and then work a double crochet into the top of that 3rd chain up or the 2nd chain down, same thing, whichever is easier to see and count up. So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2. Okay, so that's the top equivalent of your double crochet, and then you're keeping that chain 1 in between for your separation. And this is where you're going to be putting your fringe on both sides of your work. Okay, once again, chain 4, turn, and always remember to skip that first chain, do your 3 double crochets, and now this is row 1 of the 3-row repeat, so you do your chain 5, just as usual, as established in the pattern. So what you just work this over and over and over again. Always remember now, when you get to the end and you've completed your last 3 double crochets in your sequence, remember to chain 1 so you have that separation. Then you skip the first chain and you double crochet into the next, which is the 3rd chain up. And that's it. There you have it. Chain 4, turn, repeat, back and forth across. That's it. That's the only difference on this one. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this pattern and this video. And if you would, please give me a great big thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you will make this and let me know if you do, and what yarn you used, and what you wound up making, which version, how it turned out, all that good stuff. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it as always. Take care, everyone, and until next time, I will see you soon. Bye.